What's up guys, my name is Michael, and in this video I'll be showing you some camera settings on your iPhone that you should change right now. So out of the box, the camera app looks like this, and I'll be showing you the first setting, which allows you to compose your photos a lot better. So photographers use what is called the rule of thirds. So whenever you're taking a photo of a person, for example, they recommend having their eye line on the top 2/3 of the frame, and that'll make for a better composed photo. So inside settings, if you go to camera settings right here, turn on grid. Now this will put a grid in your camera viewfinder right here, and whenever you're taking a photo of somebody, try to have their eye line on this top 2/3 line, and the composition of the photo will be a lot better. And when you do turn this on, you will also have a new option right here in the middle of your screen. Whenever you're taking an overhead shot, you can see it's a crosshair. Now, if I take my iPhone and put it off level a little bit, you can see that the crosshairs aren't lined up, and then I can put it back to even level, and you can see it lines up yellow right there. So just a little bit better to compose your shots. And again, if you're taking a photo of a person, I really recommend using the rule of thirds, as your photo is going to be composed a lot better, and it'll just look a lot nicer. Next up are for those of you that own an iPhone 13 or an iPhone 13 Pro. So these iPhones come with a really cool feature called Photographic Styles. So if you go into camera settings, once again, you can see here in blue text, you can choose your photographic style. So you can see the iPhone comes out of the box with standard. My personal favorite is rich contrast, as it just makes the subject of the photo stand out a lot more, and the photo is more contrasty, as the name suggests. Vibrant looks more like a Samsung phone in my opinion. I don't really like how washed out it looks, but some people seem to like this style. And then you have warm and cool. And when you choose one of these photographic styles inside the camera app, you can tweak these settings a little bit more, and I'll show you that right now. So we'll choose rich contrast, and then we will open the camera app. And then there's this photographic styles icon on the top right here. We can tap that. And then as you can see, the tone has been brought down by a few points, and the warmth is exactly the same. Now we can change this if we tap in. Maybe we want to slide up the warmth just a little bit. And then those settings will now be saved for our photographic style, and it will change the name accordingly. So now it's called Rich Warm. And if we bring this back to 0, you can see it brings it back to rich contrast. So you can really tweak these settings and change it to get the exact photographic style that you like. I don't really know why Apple doesn't make this available on other iPhones, just because it's computational photography, and most iPhones have a very fast chip nowadays, but Apple is limiting this to just the iPhone 13. So if you have an iPhone 13 series iPhone, this is definitely a setting I'd recommend tweaking and looking around with, just to get the look that you really want for all your photos. So the next setting is called View Outside Frame. So whenever you're taking a photo of a landscape or something that isn't a close-up subject, your iPhone is going to stitch in the view from the ultra-wide angle camera on the top and bottom parts of the camera UI, just to kind of give you a preview of what you could be seeing if you're using the ultra-wide angle lens. But unfortunately, Apple has been using this on the iPhone since the iPhone 11 Pro, and the stitching and just the way it looks really doesn't look that good in my opinion in the camera UI. So I always recommend turning this off. So if you jump into camera settings, you can see View Outside Frame. I'd recommend turning this off, and then whenever you're taking a photo of anything, a landscape or close up, the top and bottom of the UI is going to stay black, just to give it a more professional look. Again, if Apple did this well, I'd recommend turning this off, but View Outside Frame, the stitching and how it goes together with the actual viewfinder, it really doesn't look that good, so I'd recommend turning that off. So next up is the very top option where it says Formats. So to save iCloud storage out of the box, your iPhone comes set to high efficiency, where it's going to be capturing video in HEVC format, and the images are going to be HEIF. So these are both high efficiency codecs for capturing images and videos. Now, if you want to capture 4K 60 on your iPhone, you are going to have to choose high efficiency. But in my opinion, using the most compatible option does lead to better image quality. And it is going to be, like it says, more compatible with other software. So say, for example, you import your photos into Lightroom, I would recommend using the most compatible option. So even though most softwares nowadays have been updated to support high efficiency image and video codecs, I would recommend choosing most compatible, as I believe I can see a slight quality difference as the iPhone captures a JPEG and an H.264 format instead of using the high efficiency formats. So like I said, out of the box, to save you iCloud storage, it is going to be set to high efficiency, but if you want the ultimate best quality and least amount of compression, I would choose most compatible. So the next setting has to do with burst photos. So when the iPhone was first able to capture burst photos, I believe it came out with the iPhone 6, and Apple allowed you to do that by simply pressing and holding the shutter button. But now when you do that, it'll just start recording a quick take video. You can still take burst photos, however, if you go into settings and choose use volume up for burst. Now, unfortunately, there is no option to make it so you can press and hold the shutter button again. I really wish you could do that because I never use quick take video. But if you turn on use volume up for burst and you go into the camera app and you press and hold the volume up button, you can see it starts capturing a bunch of burst photos. So if you turn this setting off, there is kind of a bit of redundancy, so you can still take a quick take video by pressing and holding the shutter button. And like I said, if that button is turned off, if you press and hold the volume up button, it's still going to take a video. So you really don't need two ways to record a quick take video. So I definitely recommend having volume up for burst, as it is good for fast moving subjects. And finally, the last setting I'd recommend changing has to do with slow motion video. So I'm a little bit frustrated that Apple hasn't updated their slow motion capture in quite a while. We've been limited to 1080p, 240 frames per second for quite a while. But honestly, 240 frames per second can be a little bit too slow for most people, and you're not getting the best quality, as when the iPhone is trying to capture 240 whole frames every single second of video, you're not going to get very much detail and the lighting isn't going to be very good. So if you jump into camera settings and you choose record slow-mo, if you jump down to 1080p at 120, your slow motion video isn't going to be as slow. In my opinion, it's still slow enough, but it's going to be a lot better quality. So in my opinion, the trade-off of making your slow motion video not as slow is definitely worth it because you get way better quality if you choose 120 frames per second. So that's going to do it for me in this video. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Michael, and I'll see you in the next video.